Hello? Can't hear anything.
Good morning, John.
Hi, I can hear you now.
Right, so everything I've said before didn't happen. Okay, let's start again then. Good morning and welcome to listeners on Royston Radio. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to Fons. And good morning, John.
Good morning, Stephen. Apologies for being a couple of moments late, but just as I went to log in, the damn doorbell rings, and you can guess what it was.
A parcel.
Unfortunately, this is addressed to Kona Upton, which is Tom's dog. It wasn't
right.
what I was waiting for, which also is coming via Whistle, which is a new handle for my I don't know what they call them. Azada, I think, is the term they know. Like a big sideways hoe.
Okay. Something for the allotment.
Yeah, this rattles. So I suspect it's a biscuit sample, but never mind.
Okay, we welcome viewers on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. Thank you for joining us. And it is Thursday. It is the 23rd of March, and it is spring, John. How is the allotment?
It's sprung, hasn't it?
The real spring.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't been down the allotment since Sunday, so it's rained, hasn't it, since pretty much since Sunday. So I've actually had work to do.
Right. Have you heard from Peter at all?
No.
Oh, me neither. Just a minute. I'm going to move a stand that's in the background and taking over the stage. That's better. Stand is almost gone. Right. I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Did you watch Boris yesterday?
No. Got better things to do than watch an idiot.
Right. Okay. Just to state, the political views on this program are our own, and we are not a newspaper. We're just giving our opinion on what's happened during the week. And yesterday in Parliament, our ex-Prime Minister Boris Johnson was explaining why he didn't break the COVID rules, and he's being held to account, and we won't know until May what the results of the committee's deliberations are. But the sense is today that he yesterday afternoon spent 3 hours trying to explain why he didn't break the COVID rules when on the face of it he most certainly did. And it basically, every time that he goes live, the Conservative Party, or leaders of the Conservative Party, must think, oh, not again, because he shouldn't be taking the limelight now. He should be retired on the speech circuit and earning millions from his knowledge gained whilst he was in power. He's not going to go quietly, is he, John?
He was reselected for his territory. What do you call it? I can't think what the name is for where an MP looks after.
Constituency.
That's the word.
Yeah.
He was reselected for the next round of elections last week for Uxbridge, is it? I think he is.
Yeah, there were thoughts that he'd actually go for a safe seat, but he didn't. And we say good morning to Alec. Nobody believes him, and nobody. Well, I think that's.
I think that's pretty much my sentiment. Well,
yeah,
does he matter? Goodbye.
Alec Dorling has joined us from Sweden, a good friend, and he says nobody believes him and nobody cares anymore. I think that's the truth, but he's getting so much airtime. He's just, yeah. I wish he would just retire properly and just disappear from view, because he's basically. I mean, a lot of other things happened yesterday.
Sorry, excuse me.
I wish you'd get crisp, John. Richie Soon.
I'm running crisp. It still picks up coughing a few inches from the microphone.
Yeah. I wouldn't listen to coughing on the radio. Right. I just want you to get better soon. So, Alec, thank you for joining us. Other things happening yesterday. Whilst Boris was talking, Rishi Sunak published his tax returns to show that he is an upstanding member of the community, and that over the last few years he's paid $1 million in tax. So that news, and then the other news is that the Northern Ireland Agreement, the new Northern Ireland Agreement, was passed in Parliament with 22 UK British English MPs, including the aforesaid Mr. Johnson, and who is that lady who led the party for a little? Liz Truss. Liz Truss voted. Liz Truss voted against. But I mean, it looks like the legislation is going to go through. So one by one, the current Conservative government looks like they're taking care of some of the problems. And to get a different view on things, I've got another of our crew, and I'll come back to Alec in a minute. And I'm just waiting for Peter, and hopefully Peter will. He's just trying to sort out his camera. Okay, because we're live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And over to Alec, and Alec is saying, let's focus on... No! Alec Dorling is saying, let's focus on Trump instead of Boris. That's another narcissist. As I say, we're giving our own views. So these are not politically correct sometimes. I can hear you, Peter. I can't see you. Basically, it is... I mean, this is bizarre. Ex-President Trump is facing legal battles everywhere, and he has conjured up this image of him being taken into custody wearing handcuffs so that he can use it for his campaign for the next presidential elections, so that he can look like he is the oppressed, not the oppressor. And it's just totally bizarre. So we don't have to give fair airtime on this broadcast. Oh, Peter's actually surfaced. Right. So let's bring in Peter and take away. Morning, Peter.
It's not.
Oh, blimey. That's rather loud.
Is it? I'm on my laptop. I've had to go on my laptop. I'll take it down a bit. Where do I do the speaker sound? How do I take the sound down?
You sound better now. Maybe it was just an initial thing.
Yeah, right.
And
My biggest bugbear, after I've finished this, I'm going to get a thing called a tile, my last one. And you know what it's for? It's to put on keys, because I can't get into my garage because I've lost my keys. And I'm getting a tile to find out where it is. But the tile run out of battery. And I couldn't get it. I'm not going on about it anymore. Did I see Trump's name there?
It's annoying you, isn't it?
We did briefly speak about the orange monster.
Yeah, Nick.
That's not fair.
I like saying Trump. You got it. Yeah. Or do you think that you should make a show of being arrested, Peter?
Absolutely not. Nothing. They should just park it in. The British government, the British MPs, the American...
Should I just... I need to rewind on that. Do you think Trump should make a show of being arrested?
Yes, if he's going to be arrested, make a show of it to show the Democrats, the people, what the Democrats are like. And they will lift up a rattlesnake to get under its belly at the moment just to get at Trump. No, January 6th. Have you seen the other videos that come out with the January 6th? The guy got jailed for 4 years. 4 years. And who's basically taking him round by the hand? The Capitol Police. That was hidden. The whole system is corrupt. Left, right, and centre. Both sides of the water. I've had enough of them. Every one of them. Every one of them. I'm sick of them. There are people trying to get their act together, the money, fuel prices, and they want, we got you there, and we got you there.
Let's throw back on this, Peter. And YouTube has just woken up.
You're
The-
damaging my ears, Peter.
Yeah. Peter's smiling now. You can't see him smiling on the radio, but he is smiling, having a drink of coffee. John's on the beach, and I'm in the green room. Right, so we can't talk politics then, because over to Alec. And Alec is saying, anyone had issues travelling to Europe on UK passports post Brexit? No. I know 3 people who went to Germany last week, 2 weeks ago, and had no problems at all. Yeah. So
do you know something? What's that, Alec? A lot of people would say they're British. They've got a British passport. Oh, I would love to have one of them. Don't we get in a dinghy and go to Britain and we'll get one of them one day? Great idea. What a great nation. Let's go to it.
all right, we've gone into immigration now. I don't know what the next topic is going to be.
That's show business.
Indeed. The Rocking Jocks. How are the Rocking
Yes.
Jocks doing?
Well, one of them's got COVID, not me yet.
Right.
Yeah, we're looking for we're doing on the 1st of April. We're doing a gig for and it's going to be like a Shawadi Wadi type one. It's going to be all dressed up like them, and it's all that sorts of songs. So it's not going to be Jockanese. It's going to be all the doo wop and things like that that we're going to do. And he's sending me through our list. But it is funny. I went into a place the other day, and somebody came out and said, "Rock and Jock." So that was good. Yeah. So I'm like a coiled spring with it. I just want to get out and do gigs and gigs and gigs.
Yeah. Well, sorry, when we talked about this previously, I thought there were more than 2 of you.
There were 3, but I know how I've got a sixth sense about life at my age, and I knew there was something wrong with one guy. And when he didn't turn up to rehearsals, and I asked why, and I knew that would be a duo, and I knew that from day one, because I've got a sixth sense.
Right. Okay, so we can't talk about politics today. We can't talk about politics USA or UK. Where does that leave us?
Can't we?
Right, just let me make a change to the layout in the studio. Let's go there.
Why can't we talk politics, like?
Because you covered it all in 60 seconds.
All right. Now, Sweden is giving Spanish ink when entering Sweden. Have you got enough money? Where are you staying? Have you exceeded your... Well, good for Sweden, because the worm has turned. They've been so liberal that they bent over backwards to help everybody, and look what's happened to their country. If you really look at it, what you can find yourself, Sweden has got a big problem now. Malmo, I think the place is called.
Alec, if you could help Peter about Malmo, because you're actually in Sweden.
Sorry?
Alec is in Sweden, works for Volvo.
All right, okay. Good cars, by the way. Well, what is it called? Gentrification, where they put people in an area. Is that what it's called? Gentrification. Would that be right?
Not sure.
Basically, there's area in Sweden that the police don't go to now. You wouldn't get a cop with one vehicle going in there now in some areas.
Alec, are there no-go areas in Sweden? Is the question. Okay. Right now, unexpectedly, inflation went up from 10.1% to 10.4%. And it is thought that the Bank of England will be raising interest rates again. Is this good or bad?
Right. Well, when do we deal with Alec first?
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So
Alec,
they've all been put. Yeah.
Alec is saying Malmo is where a lot of immigrants are located. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you may well be right, Peter.
It's not often
okay.
I'm wrong.
That's true. The interest rates going up. Any thoughts? I mean, you put interest rates up to stop people spending.
Yeah.
And to take the heat out of the economy. But the thing is that the price rises that caused inflation to rise were primarily food. Food prices are going up and affecting inflation. So we're all paying more, and now we're being asked to pay more in interest.
But remember, it's a global problem at the moment.
Okay.
Did
You want to expand
OPEC
on
not release a lot of it, or are they holding on to it so they can get more money? Oil and things. Joe Biden has got rid of his federal reserves basically to give to Ukraine and depleted it all, which is now costing them and us to get gas and electricity and food.
There seems to be no sign of an end to the Ukraine situation, and it is sad.
I think they're going to have to put in United Nations or something and put in a buffer zone. Yeah, just put in a buffer zone. They say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to stay there until you come to this some sort of diplomatic way. Too many lives are being lost. Too many lives are being lost.
I agree.
How much more money are we going to give and give and give and give? Do we not need that money in our own countries at the moment?
Okay, let's suppose that. No, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there because it's a hypothetical situation, and what we've got at the moment is a standoff between Russia and Ukraine supported by a majority of countries around the world. China are trying to broker a peace. Peace has to break out at some point, but it doesn't look like being anytime soon because vested interests. Yeah.
Well, what I will say, for those of people, I look at alternative programs that let you hear other things in the world that is going on, put it that way. And it's not all really one-sided. Not everybody in Britain supports the Ukraine war. You'd be surprised how many don't, And I don't think a lot of people in America are supporting it now either because of their economy. Maybe President Trump, if he gets back in, would stop it tomorrow morning in some way.
Would you like to see him back?
Absolutely.
What would he achieve?
Oh, well, he would stop the mass immigration coming over the border. He would get the fuel back on it, even back. He would open up the pipelines again. He would commit to those sort of things. He would put on tariffs on people that have been ripping them off. He will say to NATO, I think some of you countries need to pay more like they did in Germany. Do you want me to go on?
No, that's not a bad list, Peter. It's just like basically.
Listen, guys, you don't like the man. Yeah,
there's a split down the middle of the country.
The man. That's the problem. But I'll guarantee you he will get back in because now they see what they voted in, right? And it's not working out too well for them. You think the Americans want to play a lot of money for their gas into their car, or would you think they would want it to drop? Do you think they want more money on their food as it is at the moment, or would they want that to drop?
We'd all like food prices to drop. Over to Alec.
Now, who's this Alec Donner? I need to meet this man. Look.
I agree. Trump would fix things. I agree with Peter.
Well,
Right.
he's closer
There you
to
go.
you than he is to us two.
Yes, I know. Hey, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you who's taken over. Those Danish. I went down to my exhibition yesterday, and every second stall was Danish companies. But I'm in the pest control business, and these guys are very intelligent, right? The stuff that they are bringing out in pest control electronically, actually, is amazing.
So
And
where
they're
was
all
the
Danish.
exhibition?
Pardon?
Where was the exhibition, Pete?
It was down in a place called Harrogate, nice little place. And went there, and I met. I mean, the Danes have just bought the largest independent in Britain. They've got new bird systems in. They've got new products for dealing with rats mechanically, and I just couldn't believe how many Danish people were there selling their wares. Very innovative. And you know, one guy was telling most of the companies that go out and deal with houses there, right? It's actually through insurance companies. They all got insurance, and they get the work from the insurance companies. That's how they do most of their work for homes, anyway. Yeah. And the municipalities cut back on poison, so they've had to go electronic traps and mechanical traps that can dispatch RATS, and then another waits its turn, another one waits its turn. Fascinating stuff. Innovative.
Are you seeing more rats up where you are?
We've had a fair few over the past couple of months, but it's an absolute beautiful day here in Aberdeen, and we've had our first call to deal with bees. And for those of you who don't know, they're not protected. Honeybees are not protected. So what we do is we try and get them out of the building where possible and get them over to a beekeeper in case the lefties are lying on the ground shaking their legs at the moment.
Question from Mike, if we know the answer. What is the price of tomatoes in the UK? Anybody got the finger on the pulse of tomato market?
Well, I bought some. Last year they would have been 59p for a pack of 6. This year they're 79p for a pack of 6 because I bought a pack of 6 yesterday.
So
ordinary salad tomatoes, nothing special, zero taste, but
yeah. So 40% increase in price, Nick.
Grow your own this year. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard they're full of lectins. I went off them. For some reason, it says that soap in your vessels and things, lectins. I was listening to a doctor with them.
All right. We can exclusively reveal that the leader of Plymouth Council has quit. Do you know why?
No.
John?
I have absolutely no idea.
You've no idea?
It's a horrible place. No, it's not that bad.
No, it's a nice place to visit. The dockyards
Very
and all
industrial.
Yeah. The leader of
What's
Plymouth
our misery?
Sorry?
Put us out of our misery. Tell us.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I can tell you there are a beautiful avenue of trees, very French style, down the centre of Plymouth. And overnight, workmen came in the dark, and they cut down 110 40-year-old trees.
Yeah.
Because of redevelopment. And they said that they were going to plant new trees, but of course the problem with that is a new tree will not mature in our lifetimes. So the leader of the council, who actually gave the go-ahead, has just resigned after approving the cutting down of 110 trees. The place looks like a whole avenue of beautiful trees just sliced down for no other reason than redevelopment.
And they've done it during the night for safety.
They've done it during the night,
Safety.
and when people woke up, it was done.
Yeah, and that's how low councils are getting. They'll do it my way. You've got no say in it, but they did, and you've resigned. But the trees are dead. 40-year-old trees dead. You know why?
Well, they were
Yeah.
in a pedestrian area as well, so
Yeah.
it's not like they were a danger to cars.
So this is a thing with politics that I'm looking at now. I don't understand it all, but when one side gets into a local council and they've got the majority, or Britain or whatever, they've got too much say and they can do what they want, you know. And it's my way or the highway until, well, the classic cases in America, where is it the Senate? Was it the Senate or the House of Representatives were overturned, and old Nancy Pelosi got the boot, and now it's their turn to take over. Did you know about them releasing all the videos from the insurrection, Stephen and John? Did you know about that?
Talking about Plymouth.
We've moved from Plymouth. Let's go to Alec, and Alec is admitting to something. I'm a Man United supporter. My house is almost next door. What do you think of Qatari control? Take the money or support the British bid? And it would be nice for Arsenal to win this year. I know. No, team to follow, Alec, is Burnley. There's only one team at the moment, and that's Burnley.
But they can't win the Premiership this year.
Not this year, no. No, next year.
Agree with that. Really,
And
I'm for my sins a Villa fan, but I would still like Arsenal to be the winner this year of the league. Next year, you can have your team hit number one.
I hope so.
It would be the first time ever, wouldn't it, Stephen? I don't think they've ever won.
No, they've never won the top league. It's a dream. I mean, winning the championship is a dream come true. In the first season down there,
and the Villa are doing better than they have for a long time as well.
Yeah.
I know you've given up with Plymouth, but I'd just like to say, if you follow the story up, you'll see that yes, they are planning to plan 169 because what they're trying to do is make it the pedestrianised area more pedestrian friendly, which is madness, but that's the objective of cutting the trees down. And if you compare the two pictures, the new thing is quite nice, and it's a bit like a damaged car, isn't it? It has to look worse before it gets better, you know, when it's repaired. Yeah.
But the
anyway,
thing
I'm
is,
not supporting him, but I'm just saying.
No, I take your point, but there was an injunction in place.
No, the injunction had been removed apparently.
Oh right, okay. But have you noticed, just talking about trees, because trees are trees are trees. Have you noticed that more and more trees being cut down in your area?
Well, we had the great Union Terrace Gardens debate many years ago, before technology came. People used to go to the park. We used to have concerts right in the centre of Aberdeen, down from Union Street. You looked at it, and we used to have big chess games there, etc. Big checkerboards and things, and it was very well used. And then over the years, it was neglected, and so a man called Sir Ian Wood, multi-billionaire type guy, offered to give them the money to redevelop it. The council said no. So instead he gave the hospital a 3-tier car park because there were problems. But anyway, what happened? They cut all down the trees and they've redeveloped it. Let's say it'll look very nice. I'll get pictures for you later. It will look very nice, and there's wheelchair access and there's cafes and things. But so a lot of the trees were taken down there as well, you know. And
last October, on opposite where I live, they've took a huge tree down, and I did my John of "What are you doing this for?" etc. But the bloke took his time to explain why the tree had to come down, and then after they cut most of it down, he actually came and knocked on the door and asked me to come over, and then he showed me that it was rotten all the way through the middle, and that if they hadn't taken it down, because the woodpeckers have been attacking round the edge, it would have actually collapsed in the middle of the tree. So they promised to put a replacement tree in, but there's just a big bare patch at the moment where the previous tree was.
I mean, I went out for a walk, as I do most days, and walking along the road, and it used to be on the right-hand side 40 trees, just obviously planted yonks ago, and now they're only 20. So every other tree has been taken down, and it just looks weird when you go from sort of a screen of trees and then you can see straight through them. It seems to be a campaign to deforest the nation. I know we're supposed to be planting more trees, but a lot of trees seem to be being cut down at the moment. If you've any thoughts on that,
the problem we've got in society, we don't have somebody going out lighting candles in the street anymore to put on the lighting, and we develop, so you'll maybe get some lampposts that are still there that were lit by a lighter or whatever, or gas lights or whatever they were. But we've got to move on. If we don't move on, we stay stagnant, and sometimes things happen for a better reason, like a bypass in my city that came 25 years too late, and that caused a lot of problems. If the height of the oil company seemingly said, "We'll give you the money for the bypass to get all the heavy lorries out of the city," but no, the council had it their way, and the city used to be jam-packed up King Street, full of big lorries, full of pipes coming into the city centre, And one day I saw a porter cabin fall off and fall onto a car. Now, usually the woman stops where she is and she'll run into a shop to see her mother. But today the little kid came with her to see Granny. She was lucky because she'd have been crushed. So but it was too late. Aberdeen city centre now, that same road is quiet because of the bypass. Now, there was a lot of shrubs and greenery and everything taken away, compulsory purchases to make that bypass. Now, it happened to go through the posh people's area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were up in arms because they didn't want to be compulsory purchased, and they didn't get the money that they thought they might get for the value, and that's what happened. But the bypass has been great for Aberdeen. The city centre is not choked.
And it was good for Stuart McBride as well, because he wrote a whole book about they're building the bypass and there was a body hidden in the route, and it was one of his best sellers.
Yeah. So that's but things had to move for it. So in life, these things will happen.
I just say let the trees grow, don't thin them out. Right, okay, we could do with a bypass. Devizes needs a bypass. It could actually run along the canal, but because basically the traffic comes through the town to get out the other side, and you get gridlock at times, and you could just bypass the town centre and everybody would be a lot happier.
And of course, I had my own bypass, a triple bypass. It was a good thing.
That was a brilliant segue, Peter.
Yeah.
Okay, over to Alex.
That was a hearty event, was it, Peter?
Yes. And I'll tell you, I was down there, and I took one of my employees with my supervisor. Everybody, hi Peter, all over Britain. They said, "How do you know all this many people?" This is Pete's well known. because I used to serve on the board of the directors, you see, for the association as well. National Trust, I don't know. I'm not a member of the National Trust, but it's not all that expensive.
This is definitely a Stephen question.
No, I'm not a lifetime member. I'm an annual member, and I know that if I wouldn't pay a lifetime fee. My age, I'm paying an annual fee because it makes more sense to pay a couple of £1,000 for something I can get for far less. Yeah. So no, I don't know. The annual fee covers the cost. I mean, if we go to Stonehenge twice, that's the membership fee back. Because Stonehenge now is £26 each to visit, and we go 4 or 5 times a year.
How much do you think it is, Stephen? Life membership?
I'm going to take a flyer and say 1,500.
2020. If you're over 60, it's 1,510.
Yeah.
But is there a reciprocal agreement with the two?
Oh yeah, if you're in the National Trust, you can go north of the border. You can even go to some English heritage properties using the membership.
Yeah.
The Stonehenge is English heritage, but we can still go there. Certain castles, Hungerford Castle, or that's not right, is it? Many castles you can actually visit. I'd like to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When you go, Stephen.
No, it's carry on, Peter.
Do you know what I passed yesterday? And I'm glad I had my specs on. A sign for Barnard Castle. Do you remember it? Do you remember it? Barnard Castle.
Barnard Castle.
Yeah, is that the name of it?
It was Barnard Castle, and it was Mr.
And who
Cummings,
was going there to check his eyes driving?
Yeah. Well, the bigger the lie, the more people are going to believe it.
So I passed a sign for it yesterday. So I remember that's where he was going. And imagine going out in a car to test your eyesight to see if you didn't hit a tree.
Did you go to Betty's yesterday, Peter?
Pardon?
Did you go? Well, if you went to Harrogate, did you go to Betty's?
Do you know, we went to Harrogate Winter Centre, had a lovely meal, cattle grill it was called, but we didn't go to Betty's, no.
Betty's, for those that don't know, Betty's is a world famous cafe located in Harrogate.
Yes.
Harrogate is an amazing place. It's in Yorkshire. I mean, I'm a Lancashire lad, but it's a beautiful town in Yorkshire. As Peter knows, it's got an exhibition centre which rivals exhibition centres elsewhere. But it's a great place to go for a walk around and for afternoon tea at Betty's tea rooms. And you can actually buy things to take away and bring home again. So you can have the Betty's tea experience at home. I don't think the scones would travel well. Cream less so, but it is a great place to go. And it's a straightforward journey for you. Sorry.
What are scones? Do you mean scones, old chap? It's a big argument in the southwest.
This is a true story. On Thursdays, we have in Devizes Town Square a market, and people bring their produce and they sell their produce, and you can buy vegetables, you can buy meats, you can buy anything that's come from the farm. And there is a stall called Cake Tray, and they sell cakes. And after we'd been for lunch at the Soup Chick, we went walking around the market, and we saw some scones. And Angelica said, "Shall we get some?" I said, "Yeah, okay, let's get some." And she said, "Right, okay." The lady of the stall, who she knows, said, "Can you tell me what these are called?" Because Angelica always says scone, and I say scone, of course, being from Lancashire. And the lady behind the counter said scone, and she actually bakes them, so she knows what they're called.
And do you put the jam on before the cream or after the cream?
Jam goes first. It really does.
Mm.
Yeah. Especially if it's clotted cream, you want to put the clotted cream on top. The Cornish cream tea. Yeah.
Celia had scones, scones, whatever you want to call them, and jam and clotted cream for Mother's Day from one of the kids. I think it was Tom, the eldest.
Yeah. So that's the scone question
Okay.
settled forever. I hope. Until Angela can find somebody else to ask, of course. Yeah. Where shall we go now? If you're listening on Royston Radio, thank you for listening in throughout this broadcast. You're listening to Peter Stewart from Aberdeen in Scotland, John Upton from Solihull, which is nowhere near Birmingham, and Stephen from Devizes in Wiltshire. And we're joined today.
Let's have a bit of Scottish politics. English afternoon. Okay.
Like saying, I went to Harrogate specifically to go for an English afternoon tea. Being Yorkshireman, always happy to visit, because just to acknowledge Harrogate is in Yorkshire. Right, sorry, Peter.
So, Scottish politics, I'm just loving the Scottish politics just a moment, because they're imploding. They're absolutely imploding. Now, I've noticed Nicola Sturgeon's playing a little game just now, because she went on to Loose Women. Did you see it?
No.
And
No.
she-
See, be honest. For the moment, as things are, we do not hear much about Scottish politics because Nicola's gone.
Okay. She's not quite gone yet. She's
No,
still
she's
there.
still there till Thursday next week, isn't she, Peter?
Now, so she went on to Loose Women. I think she was trying to do a bit of a publicity kind of stunt, you know. But
Yeah.
Loose Women, basically, she was floundering. Okay, it wasn't a good move. Now, yesterday, I believe she was on apologising for the 50s and 60s when children were taken away from their mothers in those days for being pregnant.
Yeah.
And basically Catholic Church, that's what basically the problem was. And I was watching that on TV, so I can see her. She's trying to do I'm a nice sort of person till the end, but I know what's going on. The Scottish National Party are absolutely imploding, and I watch it on Twitter. I watch an ex-colleague of mine's blog, who used to be SNP, who's now impartial, and everything is starting to come out now. Friends who were friends are no longer friends, and everything's coming out. There's much to be hidden. There's been a lot hidden, and I do not think that they will be getting in the next time around, depending on who the leader is. There was a young lady called Kate Forbes. She seems to be doing okay because she's religious, doesn't believe sex before marriage, etc., from the Wee Free Church up in Inverness-shire area. But who they're really rooting for, well, the party are rooting for, the cabal are looking for, is Humza. And he was ripped apart by the Conservative the other day, where he was the Transport Secretary, but he was caught for not having insurance while driving his car. There was a ferry problem, and it went on and on and on and on. But they're pushing for this man to be the party leader. And there's been a lot of skullduggery involved in it. I suggest you look it up. But remember, watch where you look. Yeah?
Well, I don't know how accurate the figures are that we get in some of the UK papers, but the claim is that they had just shy of 120,000 members in April 2021, and that today it's barely 72,000.
Correct. And that's it. And every time they were asked for what is the figures, they were stonewalled. what is the figures, until the two candidates, not Humza, two candidates says, we want to know the figures of the party. And they said it's over 100. Well, they fibbed. It was 72,000. They've lost 30,000 members. A lady has resigned because she was cheating, basically, by getting the emails of the people only that would support and putting messages out to them. She's resigned. The chief executive, who is Nicola Sturgeon's husband,
He's gone.
has now resigned. You see, would have had a
It's
kind
not
of
30,000. It's 49,000.
Well, there you go. There you go. And we've been led along a path to say that is how many people are there. But what has happened is there's a couple of new parties come out of that. Alba is one of them, and that is Alex Salmond, who used to be the leader. And I think there'll be trouble after that, because they were gunning for Alex Salmond. And I think somebody is going to get done for some sort of perjury or lying or something like that. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Now, folks, there was £600,000 given to the party, and that was for a second independence referendum only. Nobody will tell them where that £600,000 is. A couple of years ago, I think I told this the other week. So what do you call the secretary that looks after the money? What's his title?
Treasurer.
The treasurer, he says, if you're not telling me where the money's went, I'm resigning. No, folks, if your treasurer goes because of that, there's a problem. Here endeth the lesson.
Right. The views expressed in Blabbing for Britain, and we are on episode 367, as always, are our own views. They may not be politically correct. And you do get both spectrums, left and right, during the course of the broadcast. And this is not the news. This is our view of the news. And to
add to that, folks, I'm usually right.
You are of the right, Peter, on the right. Definitely. Okay.
Anyway, Peter, us civilized people in England don't give a monkey's what happens in north of the border, really.
Well, you should.
We're all part of the same United Kingdom. United. The key's in the word united.
You know,
most of the time.
But Nicola doesn't think we are united. Anyway, she doesn't matter. She's gone next.
How would you feel coming to the Scottish border and they'll get into the European by some sort of skullduggery early, and they say, put up a border between England and Scotland, s'il vous plaît. Dankeschön. Get the border.
Money. So you'll all be broke.
You just need to move Hadrian's Wall a bit further north.
Well, they would get a grant from the Europeans for it to put up a border, wouldn't they?
Well, they didn't provide any money for a border in Northern Ireland, did they?
Because it's not settled yet. And I noticed the unionists there aren't backing Rishi Sunak, because there's a wee tentacle still in for the European Union get the last say. Now, I've told you what I would do. I'd go and see them, and this is how quickly my meeting would be. A couple of things. If you don't sort it out and stop mucking us about, here's a date. That's a date we're coming out of your deals. Finished. If you stop us taking these people to Rwanda, to these nice homes that they've given us, everything, we'll be out of the HCR. Here's the date we're leaving. Now, you either stop meddling in our politics, or that's what's happening.
Right. Talking of Scotland, Peter, Alec is asking, does anyone produce Scottish wine? Is there a Scottish wine that you know of?
Well, Alec, you're talking to a man who's been teetotal for 19 years. So I can't help you.
Right. Okay, we've got a local wine, which is amazing. The grapes are grown locally, and the wine is pressed. And it's very dry. It's a sort of chalky soil, so the wine itself is a white, and it is very dry. I wouldn't drink it out of choice. I would normally drink red in preference to white wine. Right. Okay. Talking of Rwanda, Peter, which you did for a moment there. The Guardian was stopped going on the tour that Suella Braverman did of the Rwanda complex, where they're going to send immigrants to. But do you think it'll ever end? Do you think anybody will ever go to Rwanda? Be sent?
Yes,
to Rwanda?
I actually do this time. I think they will go this time. They will go. And it'll send a message. Some of the immigrants who are kicking up a fuss in some of the 5-star hotels they're in are complaining about the accommodation. They've been told, no problem, we'll get you a nice place in Rwanda. Biting the hand that feeds you. That's what it is. They're getting 3 meals a day. They're getting everything that they need. They're getting mobile phones. They're getting bicycles. They're actually getting to walk about the community. We're such a great country. Looking after them. We're doing our bit. But putting you over to Rwanda. Nice and sunny there, you know. I think I would like to go to Rwanda, see what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's basically if we took one of the Scottish islands and just said that's where you're going. Okay.
Why punish the Scots?
No. One of the islands you're not actually inhabiting. And just
there's one with anthrax on it. Anyway, but how's the real problem? We actually let people go up to a place called Wick. Very nice place. I've been to Wick. I was down in Land's End and up in Johnny Groat's Wick the same day. Actually, no, the same week, sorry. But you know, something's nice and tranquil. But they put some immigrants up and they were crying to get back to their... I thought that was quite funny. Give them a nice place in Wick. It's so quiet up there, you know.
Okay.
Right. It's actually famous for Dounreay. Is it Dounreay?
Yeah.
Where they had the
nuclear power station. Yeah.
And there's a lot of Americans there. Did you know that? Because they married local women, the servicemen who were based there.
Have you 2 bits of tech news? Bard has been released. Have you had an invitation to Bard?
Well, I have, but when you get full of the invitation, it says you're now in a queue. Huh? So why send me an invitation that turns out to be a queue?
John, you won't have long to wait. I got it yesterday and I've actually used it. I was in a queue and then it says you're in a queue. You're in. So I've got Bard now. Yeah, they must think I'm important.
Now Bill Gates says artificial intelligence is the most important IT thing. I definitely want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's too many to choose from already. Too many to choose from.
Well, you've got to find a use for it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep getting jounce emails telling me this new feature, that new feature. Yeah. Now you can write something twice as long as you could before. And I'm thinking, do I really care? Am I bothered? Yeah.
If we all wrote content, then absolutely brilliant. If we all made created images using it, brilliant. But we don't do it. I mean, it's nice to have it as a diversion. But as for anybody in my circle actually using it on a regular basis, I don't know. I could count the number of people who would on one hand, and half of those would do so reluctantly because they believe that your own word is what counts, not what the computer writes. Okay, latest news hot off the press, and a shout out to Bob Tomlin for finding it, is that WhatsApp has now got video with 8 people on screen.
WhatsApp.
8 people on
Good.
screen.
There's
Guys,
so
can
many
I
ways
just say,
to talk to each other, though, isn't there?
yeah, guys, can I just say, if I drop out, my battery's gone from my laptop. What happened to battery power nowadays? It's not worth a hoot.
No, it isn't. I think we're getting close to the time. But yeah, I mean, what's out with having video? Who knows where that will lead? And over to Alec. Thanks for the interaction today. Thank you, Alec. Thank you for joining us.
You too, Alec. Yes, nice to see somebody that's got my frame of thinking, because I'm sick fed up of getting outnumbered by lefties and bulls and things.
Yeah, but he puts his jam on second. So, Peter, you know.
Yeah, I wish I could have jam.
There is an answer to this scone question. If you've got
Okay.
2 scones, whatever you want to call them, cut them in half, yeah? And then put 2 lids together and 2 bases together. And then it don't matter which way up you hold it, you can be right to whichever way somebody wants.
I'd just like to shout out to some people for a LinkedIn post. All my competitors, big companies, thank you to Contigo, Verbo, Best Fix, who are watching my posts. I know you're watching me. The Art of War.
Okay. All right. Quick look at newspapers, see if there's anything we've missed. I think we've covered most things in our own inimitable. Oh, Peter, the happenings up in Leith this week. Do you have any information on what caused the ship to keel? Over.
No, I just got a brief knowledge of a ship that went on its side. That's all.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you any more, actually.
Apparently,
It's
the
actually-
supports collapsed on one side, and there's no water to balance it.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
I've actually been.
I believe they're planning to flood the dock to get it back upright.
Okay. I've been to Leith docks to spray a ship, and I'll tell you, it's the most uninviting place you could ever go. It's like being sent to the Russian salt mines, sort of thing. Oh, miserable place.
They're going to Rwanda, Peter.
The ship was built for Paul Allen, former Microsoft executive.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd just like to say, folks, before we go, take everything I say with a pinch of salt. I'm a nice man, really. I've been known to give money to beggars and everything. So just remember that.
Oh dear. We didn't mention that our future king went to Poland yesterday.
He did near to the border.
Yeah, to meet the British troops training Ukrainian troops on rocket launchers.
Yeah. It's getting to be a sad affair, this. It really is.
Oh, well, we've hit 11 o'clock, so I suppose it's time to bugger off and do some real work.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, to everybody on Royston Radio, this is John signing off.
Goodbye from the rocking jock from Aberdeen. Goodbye from the scone eating man from Wiltshire, and goodbye from me, the West Midlands. And sorry about all the coughing. Bye.
Bye. Bye.